Doing great. You guys? Good. Ready? Fire away.
What were the main coaching points you came away with for Spencer after going through that first game?
The biggest thing is just, to stay within himself, let the offense work for him, not try and press. And, it's hard when you get behind the sticks. You don't manage first down and second down well. You put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, so we've got to do a better job of helping him.
How do you think he handled it, like demeanor-wise, confidence-wise?
He was awesome. He really was. He was dialed in. The communication was excellent throughout the game. He had great vision, knew what he was seeing. Obviously, he made a few mistakes, but he also made quite a few plays for us. So, good first outing.
A lot of quick game in this last game. What's kind of the key to operating that efficiently? I think Spencer was 18 and 24 on quick passes in this game.
Yeah, obviously it's guys getting to where they need to be when they're supposed to be there, and the ball getting out on time. And you take pressure off the passer when you can get the ball out of his hands quickly, avoid sacks. Like I said, avoid the negative plays. Play within the sticks, so to say.
Maybe frustrating for the quarterback when there's a team sitting back in shell. Spencer mentioned after the game that he expected more pressure, and I'm sure that took away some of the opportunities. How did you see him kind of handle that?
I thought he did an excellent job. It's part of the style in which they play. They were going to keep a lid on it. They get into what we call a penny structure, and they play with three deep back there, and they kind of drop in from the sky, so to say. So it makes it difficult and challenging to find ways to get behind them. And so, playing quarterback, it's important that you stay patient, you stay detailed, and you don't force the ball into coverage. And I thought he did a good job of that.
Kelly pointed out after the game, first down efficiency in the run game, in particular the second half, was something that maybe necessarily wasn't as advantageous as expected. What went into that, and how do you go about addressing that going into this week?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, you got to win first down, and everybody focuses on third down, right? So what'd you do on third down? Well, okay, you were this percentage. Well, that's not good. Well, okay, when you look at statistics, where are you? What were your third downs? Were they 3rd and 5 or less? Are they 3rd and 10 plus? Because if you're playing in 3rd and 8 plus, you got problems in this league. You just look at percentages, you're not going to win. So, like I said, and when what you said, what Kellen alluded to, is we got to win first and second down.
With some of the runs you guys had on the first half and the second half, a lot of them more for tempo. Didn't have a lot of pre-snap motion. Is it harder? Is it harder to run pre-snap motion when you're going fast, or is it like you just don't want to run it because you're trying to go as fast as possible?
One of the things that, when you talk about the run game is identification, all right, and targets and where you're going. So anytime you start moving people on a run play, you move targets or potentially move targets. So whether we're in a huddle tempo and we're shifting and motioning, or we're playing fast, where the targets are a key part to everything we do.
When you put together the game plan, do you have a rough idea of how many touches you want Alvin to get? And was last week a little less than you would have preferred?
Well, obviously you go in with a certain idea, but the game dictates different things, and you can't ever put a number on it. If you had asked me if we were going to go in, I think what did Spencer end up with 46 attempts in the game? If you had asked me if we were going in, was he going to have 46 attempts? I would have said no. So you just got to play the game the way it plays out.
But would you ideally like to see Alvin?
Obviously, anytime 41 has a ball in his hands, I like our chances. That's a good thing, So, and teams like talked about not, having a great ability to try and create explosive plays in the past game because the shell was on it. There's going to be other games where we feel like, hey, we can create explosive plays through the running game. We got to get 41 more touches than we normally would. But obviously, it's a point of emphasis every week. How we're going to get the ball to 41.
Spencer spoke yesterday about the opportunity to build rhythm with some of the skill position players, because they were that 11 personnel group, kind of 76% or more in terms of snap percentage. So we got a lot of opportunities with them. Is that kind of a hallmark of what y'all like to do, or are there going to be situations where you are going to rotate more than maybe what we saw?
Sure. I think when you look at our personnel, we're going to lean into the 11 and then, the 12, where we have 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and 1 back. As you see, we don't have a fullback on the roster, so you're not going to see, the 21 stuff that some of the other teams in the league will run. And we're going to use that personnel accordingly, how we feel like we want to attack a certain team and what group gives us, we feel, a competitive advantage in a game plan. I thought he was outstanding for a young guy. I thought he did a really nice job. The moment's not too big for him. He's a true pro. Comes to work every day, has a great attitude. He's smart. He studies. He's prepared. He's detailed. There's not enough. I have all great things to say about Calvin and what he's done. They're very talented. They're a good football team. Obviously, it all starts with them up front in the core. They're going to get after you, that pass rush. And the front four, they're going to play vertical up the field. Obviously, Bosa, everybody knows about him. You got to have a plan. You go linebackers, Fred Warner, obviously phenomenal football player. Having played them in the past, they're a little bit younger this year than they have been, obviously, with some of the young guys that they're playing, but they're a talented group and they fly around. When you play these guys, they're going to play hard, they're going to play fast.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about Kelvin and the moment not being too big for him. He's going against Nick Bosa this week. I'm sure you've seen a lot of rookie tackles that started early. Is he even rare among them in preparedness and kind of poise early on?
I think obviously each player is different. Their mannerisms are different. The way they handle things are different. So I'll just be specific to him. I've just been really impressed since from day one how he's come in with his mindset, with his approach, day in and day out. His process has been phenomenal. You got it, guys.